Hello and welcome to the Day Ahead. It is Thursday, July the 24th. I'm Andrew Gagan. Well, the local share market is set to push towards a new record today, with ASX futures up around 0.25%. It was a risk-on across global equity markets overnight as investors were buoyed by progress in trade negotiations, with signs the European Union and the US will strike a deal similar to an agreement struck with Japan. Investors on Wall Street were also focused on earnings results from Alphabet and Tesla after the closing bell. All major indices climbed, with the S&P 500 claiming another record high close. Alphabet beat analysts' estimates for its second quarter and flagged massive demand for its cloud computing services as it hiked its capital spending plans for the year to about $85 billion. The search giant's revenue growth was driven by Google Cloud sales, which surged nearly 32%, well above estimates. Tesla reported the steepest decline in quarterly revenue in more than a decade, with a 12% fall, while its adjusted profit per share of 40 cents lagging the consensus of 43 cents a share. The EV maker began its first builds of its affordable model in June and expects volume production in the second half of this year. Well, during the session, Nvidia helped drive the S&P higher, along with GE Vernova, which hit an all-time high after the power equipment maker raised its revenue and free cash flow forecasts and beat Wall Street estimates for second quarter profit. The stock has gained more than 80% since the beginning of the year, as it benefits from growing demand from the power of AI and cryptocurrency data centers. Medical equipment maker Thermo Fisher surged after beating estimates for second quarter profit and revenue. Texas Instruments tumbled after its quarterly profit forecast pointed to weaker than expected demand for its analog chips and underscored tariff-related uncertainty. And the prospect of a trade deal between the US and the EU has seen shares in European car makers surge, led by Stellantis, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen and Porsche. Well, the European Union trade negotiations say that the EU and US are moving toward a trade deal that could include a 15% baseline tariff on EU goods and possible exemptions. Presently, the EU faces a 30% tariff rate that President Trump has vowed to impose on its exports from August 1st. This follows a trade deal with Japan that will see Japan investing $550 billion into the United States and pay a 15% reciprocal tariff. President Trump also announcing a new 19% tariff rate for goods from the Philippines and said US goods would pay zero tariffs. Well, trade deal optimism has prompted rising US bond yields, with the 10-year up 5 basis points to 4.38% and the 2-year at 3.88%. The US dollar has strengthened against the Swiss franc and euro, but weakened against the yen as the new trade deal was offset by political uncertainty surrounding the Japanese Prime Minister's future. The Aussie dollar has climbed above 66 US cents. And Bitcoin is weaker, trading around 118,000 US dollars. Oil prices a little changed as investors assess trade developments between the European Union and US following the deal with Japan. Brent crude futures at $68 a barrel. Copper rose almost 2%. Iron ore fell around 1% to 103 US dollars a tonne. And the gold price has retreated on the prospect of more trade deals. Spot gold down more than 1% at $3,387 an ounce. Locally today, RBA Governor Michelle Bullock will speak about the bank's dual mandate of inflation and employment. On the corporate calendar, reports are expected from Fortescue, Coronado Global Resources, Insignia Financial, Karoon Energy, Lynas Rare Earths, Northern Star Resources, Sandfire Resources and Syrah Resources, and Macquarie Group will host its annual general meeting. That is your Day Ahead. See you again tomorrow.